Hi guys, you are welcome to today's episode of the Finance Edge. In continuation of our strategic models that we started a couple of weeks back, uh, today we'll be looking at the concept of PESTEL, and also we'll examine this model and narrow it down to how you can apply it for your case study scenario based exams. And just a quick recap. During the previous episodes, I did a presentation of the concept of strategy from the perspective of Henry Mitberg 5 Ps, and also looked at the various levels of strategy ranging from the corporate level strategy, the business level strategy, and the functional level strategy, which is equally known as operational level strategy. These two are used interchangeably. If you are yet to watch the video, please go over it for you to have a solid understanding of that. Today we will be talking about PESTEL. PESTEL is a strategic model used for evaluating external forces in business environment. And it will interest you to know that PESTEL and SWOT analysis have a shared resemblance, just that PESTEL doesn't look at internal factors, unlike SWOT analysis. I'll be doing a video of the similarity between the two and when it is appropriate for you to apply both models. But today, we are focusing solely on PESTEL analysis, and the next video will be on SWOT analysis. Then I'll be able to talk about the similarity and the bridge between these two models. When you look at PESTEL, a lot of people commonly use this model but can't have their head around it. PESTEL is a strategic model that is very, very critical and essential when you are trying to gain competitive advantage and relevance in a market environment. And it is crucial for every business to use this model or possibly have an understanding of the most critical factors that can hinder the success of the business. So when you look at PESTEL, PESTEL looks into external environmental forces. If you want to know which forces might affect the future of my business, then there is a need for what we call environmental scanning. When you periodically scan your business environment with the mindset of knowing which of the predominant factors might affect the future of your business. So, this is when you are ready to maintain relevance, because PESTEL will help you to keep abreast of possible environmental forces that might hinder the growth or competitive advantage of your business. So, let us look at each of the critical factors that makes PESTEL. In most cases, you see it as PEST analysis. But to have a robust explanation around this, I included the other two factors so we could make sense of the whole picture of PESTEL model. But in most examiner always tests only four, which is the PEST aspect of this model, because these are the four predominant aspects of any business environment. One of it is that you must know that PESTEL is a model that helps you to scan your business environment. And when I say business environment, I mean the external macroeconomic factors. Factors such as the inflation rate, the taxation rate, the changes in government policy, things that has to do with socio-economic information, demographic situation, technological and innovative solutions that are evolving and disrupting the way businesses are done over the past. This is one of the most important aspects that you need to know about PESTEL. It dwells solely on understanding the macroeconomic factors that can affect business environment. And when you look at macroeconomic factors, they are mainly external factors which can make or mar every business. That is, this factor, if you take advantage of them, you can gain high level of competitive advantage, or if you overlook it, you can lose your competitiveness. Also, it is important for you to know that whatsoever recommendation you want to make whenever you are adopting PESTEL, You can only manage it, you cannot control it, because it is not an internal factor, it is an external factor. So PESTEL is robust because this model is used for management of macroeconomic forces or factors that can either make or mar businesses. You cannot control it because it is beyond the jurisdiction or purview of business practices. So business only need to be aware of these forces and use them judiciously in their day-to-day business strategic operation and direction of the business. So these are the most essential elements of PESTEL. The P stands for political environment. And when you say political environment, it simply means every government activities, starting from the economic outlook for the new year up to new government policy, the laws and regulation either in the area of fiscal policy or monetary policy, or when it comes to international relation with other business environments. You are looking at what are the possible political factors coming up that can affect business practices. For instance, globally, we all know each countries have their own year of election. During an election year, there are promises from different candidates saying this is what I will do when I come into power. This is what the future of business will look like. This is what the future of organization practices or corporate governance will look like. I'm going to stem anything that has to do with corporate failure. So when the government is making loads of promises or ready to change existing policy and laws to the extent that it either kills business or supports business growth, then you need to be able to evaluate if these policies are either a threat or an opportunity for every business environment. So the P in PESTEL stand for political environment because it is mainly talking about the activities of government, the incoming government, the incumbent government, whatsoever form of government, their policy direction, their laws and regulation, the changes in minimum wage, the changes in tax law, the changes in labor law, all of these will have cost implication for doing business. The way government regulates business activity will determine the ease of doing business in that business environment, and this must be clearly understood for you to navigate how you want to survive as a business owner in this environment. The next one is economic environment. The economic environment is so important because it tells everything about the business environment. It tells you the prospects, the failures, all of the promises that this business environment holds. So when you look at economic environment is looking at what are the various monetary and fiscal policies, exchange rates, inflations, employment and unemployment rates. You are looking at the ease of doing business. You are looking at a whole lot of government instruments such as debt instruments. You have taxation, you have fiscal policy, monetary policy that can be used to enhance the cost of living and standard of living of people, because these will have a ripple effect on business practices. Essentially, inflation rates and interest rates. These are the two major instruments government use in regulating the economy. So when you have a scenario or you have a business environment that is heavily taxed or the interest rate is significantly high, it tells you more about the ease of doing business in that environment, or the tax policy or the taxation is so significant that it eats into profit, then that becomes an headache for business owner. Exchange rates, these are clear cases of economic factors or economic environment. And for you to be able to edge or take advantage of all of these economic forces, you need to scan your environment to know what is the direction of government in terms of taxation, what is the direction of government in terms of working on reducing inflation rates or increasing interest rates. You want to have solid knowledge of all of these policies to be able to navigate the direction of your business. And for anyone adopting the application of this model in the exam, you need to look out for all of these highlighted key variables. That will tell you either this is an economic environment factor, or a political environment, or a socio-cultural environmental factor. That is everything I feel you need to know. There are a whole lot of indicators that can speak to economic environment, but these are the commonest and easy to identify in any scenario. Another one is the sociocultural environment. The beliefs and values, the norms, the social life, the religious practice of individual domiciled in an environment is critical to business existence. The population analytics, the demographic factors, the trend and the cultural activities is very crucial for you to know what product we sell in this location. What is the population of this particular location or environment? Will our product sell to this category of consumer? Based on demographics, what is the percentage of old people to active population or the working class? Who are we targeting? All of this information relate to social and cultural forces that can impact either product development or pricing of products. If a business owner don't take into cognizance the socio-cultural forces in a business environment, then chances that you will lose out on these environmental forces is very high. Therefore, these are very crucial whenever you are making a strategic plan and scanning your external environment. The next one is technological environment, that speaks to the level of technological development in an environment. Some environments are technologically developed as compared to others. When you look at the evolution of financial technology, talking about the open banking that has made financial services much more available to almost the unbanked people, that is financial inclusion. You can see that with this robust development in some developed country, they stand better advantage, a competitive advantage I mean, than organizations or countries that are less developed technologically. So such areas include information technology, e-commerce, Internet of Things, digital business, financial inclusion, financial technology, open banking, etc. The changes in technological environment speaks to how your business should navigate. Are we at a point where we need to also adopt a new solution for our business? Should we continue with the existing solution? What will be the implication on productivity if we decide to be laid back in our technological adoption? So these are factors that speaks to how developed is a country or an environment. What can we edge? Is it a risk or an opportunity for us? These are questions that you must ask whenever you are looking at the technological environment. And also, you have the legal environment, which speaks to the legal structure of an environment. How long does it take to resolve a legal proceeding? What are the possibilities of changes in policies, law, corporate laws, or any form of business registration and compliance? The law of a land is crucial to knowing how much more does this law changes, and if there is consistency that can be relied on before you even start your business in this kind of environment. The more unstable legal environment is, the difficult it poses to business for making decisions, because if government makes a law today, and legal environment and political environment are interrelated, because this is also more or less an arm of the government that is controlled by the government itself. So when government is inconsistent in the changes in law, in making law, in the judicial system, then it makes it very difficult for businesses to trust such environment. For instance, we have environment where cryptocurrencies are not allowed because they see it as a bane rather than an opportunity. And you can see that countries that have adopted the use of cryptocurrency might be better off or worse off the one that did not adopt it. So if a government approve or a law approves of crypto trading today, what is the possibility of not going back to zero or to grant nothing? What is the possibility of them not changing the law in the next 5 years, in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years? What is the possibility that this law will not come back to haunt the business? The consistency of legal environment and how law and regulation changes is crucial for business to thrive, and you must be able to stay on top of it. The labor law, the land use charge, the corporate law, the tax law, etc. They are crucial to managing the business activity. And lastly, we have ecological environment that speaks to the ecosystem of an environment. That is, the wilderness area, a suburban lake or forest, or a heavily used area such as a city, the more natural a ecosystem is, the more ecosystem it provides. You are looking at the greener environment, you are looking at the sustainability practice, you are looking at a lot of, activities that are environmentally connected. Businesses are expected to report on sustainability. So, what is our greenhouse gas emission? What is our impact on environment? You want to look at the environmental footprint and the ecological footprint on the environment, the impact of our business activity on the environment, the carbon emission, the net zero. Before year 2050, countries of the world are making laws that we must reach net zero. What will be the position of your business between this time frame? So the ecological environment is looking at the ecosystem and how natural resources and all other resources are used to ensure that we create a sustainable environment. This can either be a threat or an opportunity for a lot of businesses. And lastly, we have other environment that you may come across in the exam that does not belong to PESTEL, but it is an integral part of PESTEL, such as demographic environment. There are some instances you see it in some study pack or some syllabus where demographic environment will be treated as a specialized environment. International environment talks about the international trade, balance of trade, activities that involve two countries. How does the global business environment works? Ethical environment, digital environment and international environment. International environment has been explained before, that was duplicated. These are other environment that you can see that can come up contrary to what PESTEL speak about, and you can equally link them to any of the existing ones that has been mentioned. For instance, demographic environment can fit into socio-cultural environment, because in knowing the socio-cultural activity, you need to know the demography. The international environment is all encompassing. Ethical environment can fit into the socio-cultural aspect, talking about the ethical, the norms, the religion, the belief, and digital environment can fall into the technological environment. But in some cases, we have seen it where some people spell out this environment as a standalone. So how do you apply this in a scenario, in an exam situation, which is the last thing I'll be talking about? The most important thing is that it to come out as a PEST in your exam. That is, examiner is quite aware of the time factor involved in this exam, and as such, you will be given only 4 variables to speak about, which is the political environment, the economic environment, the socio-cultural environment or the social environment, and the technological environment, PEST analysis, instead of PESTEL. But by explaining PESTEL and the other environments, you have full knowledge of possible areas that might come up when it comes to the application of PESTEL itself. So you must identify key factors to know which environmental forces are in play. For instance, where in a scenario, a paragraph is talking about changes in inflation rate or interest rate, that is a pure case of economic environment. For instance, as well, where a scenario is talking about the incoming government is anti-business and would like to nationalize all form of business in order to ensure that the government is in charge of competitiveness of the public goods. This is a pure case of political environment. So you must be able to ask yourself, based on this key variable or key factor in this scenario, which environment does this speak to? It is in knowing that you will earn your initial mark, then you can now develop it further. When I say evaluate, it means justify if this force is a threat or an opportunity for business. If a government makes a new policy that if I come into power, I will create an enabling environment that reduces tax payment, corporate tax payment to 15% for corporate entities, that is an opportunity. But where tax rate is increased, that might seemingly be a threat because it will eat into the bottom line. That is, the profit of the business will go down. So when you look at the scenario, you make sense of it through evaluation, that is, weigh the pros and cons. Is it good for business or bad for business practice? That is when you can begin to earn your full mark per each of the variables you are discussing. And it will also help if you can build a scenario-based explanation of the implication of these forces on the hypothetical organization. That is, you should be able to link it to the scenario rather than just explaining it verbatim. Do not explain it literally. Just link it to the scenario. Ensure you pick vital information from the scenario, link it to your explanation, and as such, you are building a good commercial acumen and you are demonstrating sound judgment. And lastly, you must link this to the mission and vision statement or short-term objective of the business. That is, look at what the business is trying to achieve. Is there any forces in the business environment, either political, economic, social, technological, legal, and the likes, that can affect this vision or objective? If yes, then you need to begin to make a new strategy of how to manage these forces, because you cannot control it, you can only manage it. It is an external forces. They are external forces rather. PESTEL is used for analyzing external macroeconomic environment. So management can only manage these forces, they cannot control it. So this is all about PESTEL as a strategic model. And to apply it in your exam, you have it before you here. If you can do these 5 things very well, you will surely earn your full marks in any of your scenario-based exam where PESTEL is required. And like I said, do not forget to hit the subscribe button, because I'll be posting this video from time to time on strategic models that are crucial for your breakthrough and exam success going forward. You don't want to miss out by waiting to search if I have uploaded a video. You should hit the subscribe button now and leave a comment for me in the comment section. In case I make mention of anything that is not clear to you, we can engage and make a conversation in the comment section. I'll be very glad to hear from you, and I hope to see you in the next video. Please hit the subscribe button, and I wish you the very best of luck. Bye.